Hello and welcome to That Second Gen Life with Samhar. I'm your host, Samhar Raya. If you are a second generationer, child of immigrants, a diaspora leader, professional change maker, however you identify, this space is for you. This podcast is more than just storytelling. It's about strategy, identity, leadership, community, finding yourself in this beautiful diasporic journey we're all going through. We'll talk about everything from navigating the workforce as a diaspora professional to the role that you can play in making an impact from where you are, locally or around the world. We'll talk about the realities and joys of being a second generationer, some of the challenges, some of the delights, but most importantly, we're going to remind you that you are powerful and that you're to create the spaces you wish existed. Hey everyone, welcome to That Second Gen Life with Samhar. I'm your host, Samhar Raya, and today I have a very quick and short episode for you. This is an unplanned one. Today is January 15, and if you are listening in the United States, you know that we've had quite a tumultuous week and a half for many. For others, it has been longer, particularly those from Minnesota. We've seen an increased level of targeting and attention to the role of Somali diasporas in Minnesota, initially stemming from a fraud case that has been under investigation for many years. What's transpired in Minnesota in the last 8 days or so with the murder of an American woman named Renee Nicole Good and the increased violence by ICE authorities against Minnesotans of all backgrounds is very frightening. For those of us that are watching from all over, whether or not you're from Minnesota, it's important to understand that this is a moment for all of us to review and revisit our individual rights, our civil liberties, and what it means to live in the United States and have a basic set of rights that are automatically afforded to you. Now, we call this, for many organizers, we call this a know your rights sort of information, but just taking a step back before we get into the whole concept of know your rights, I really just want to underscore that regardless of your immigration status, regardless of whether you were born and raised here, whether you are from a family of immigrants, whether you yourself are an immigrant, even whether you're undocumented or not, you are afforded basic protections and equal rights under the law. You are also afforded the right due process under the law. And I won't make this into some legal conversation, but I want you to understand that what I'm sharing doesn't apply to just one particular group. And if you're listening to this, you need to understand that this will apply to you. I don't need to know your status. I don't need to know your story. I don't need to know your politics. But I want you to remember that living in the United States means that there are basic human rights enshrined in the U.S. Constitution afforded to every human being. So this is your reminder to please understand the importance of knowing your rights and that compliance doesn't always mean legality. So compliance when you are stopped isn't enough. You have to understand what's being said to you, and you have to understand how to respond to protect your rights. Because interactions with authorities won't necessarily always be legal or correct. You will find yourself in a situation you can't even imagine, and I want you to be prepared and informed. I want you to just understand what is legally afforded to you. So for that reason, I've been learning from and reaching out to a lot of different immigrant rights organizations that are protecting immigrants, but also reminding Americans of our basic rights in the United States. I have compiled a series of resources from the Immigrant Law Center of Minnesota, the Immigrant Legal Resource Center, African Communities Together, and many others to help you understand what to do if you are approached by authorities. And in this case, I'm referring to ICE authorities. If you are stopped, or if you are questioned, or if they knock on your door, there are some basic areas that you should have a good understanding of. So first and foremost, you can visit this webpage, this resource page on our website. It is thediasporaacademy.com/KY, and that stands for Know Your Rights. And what you'll find there are a couple of things. First and foremost, a downloadable document that you can keep in your phone, in your wallet, by your door, at your house, at your home, that provides you with a script written by lawyers to help you respond to authorities. The script is basically an affirmation of your Fourth and Fifth Amendment. And this script is in English and it's in 50 other languages. So you'll download a document that you can actually cut and fold, and one side will be English and the other side will be the language of your choosing. So of course it's got largely the widely recognized foreign languages, Spanish, French, Arabic. It's also got an extensive array of African and Asian languages. So I have taken it upon myself to collect the African diaspora languages. So the languages of my community from the Horn of Africa, the Tigrinya, Amharic, Afan Oromo, Somali, but also the wider African space. We've got Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, we've got Fulani, we've got Wolof, there's a couple others there. We've got Cape Verdean Creole. And this is a resource, just providing it in a translated space. So take it upon yourself to check those out. Now, the good thing is you can download it, but you can also purchase it. And you can purchase them and have it printed and mailed to you, which I ended up doing for my community. And I think there's real value in doing that, especially if you have the means. You can print these cards and order them in bulk and have them provided to your local community center or your local place of worship or wherever community members convene. It's a huge resource. And what I would recommend is that you take these wallet cards or you take these red cards because the color is red, and you put them in strategic places. So by the door of your home, in your car, in your jacket pocket, in your wallet. And the idea here is that is a guide for you. Okay, so take a look at that script. The second thing we have are videos for different communities provided by African communities together. ACT is an African immigrant rights organization, a diaspora-led organization based out of New York, but serving the needs of and fighting for the rights of African immigrants across the country. And what I love that ACT has done is created Know Your Rights videos in multiple languages. So again, in Amharic, in Tigrinya, in Afan Oromo, in Somali, in Fulani, in Wolof, in Arabic, in Swahili. These are resources just making it more accessible for you. This is very normal to have this information at your fingertips, and it's expected. And by you familiarizing yourself with this content, it's just to keep you informed and prepared so that you can remain calm. The biggest risk we have now as diasporas, and particularly those that are of immigrant backgrounds, is being mistargeted, being targeted off of our own race or ethnicity and not knowing how to navigate that situation and finding ourselves in very dangerous places and dangerous situations because we didn't realize that we were being misled. Right? So the thing that's happening here is you're going to be peppered with questions, and you've got to understand the implications are by saying yes and saying no, by responding and not responding. You've got to understand what you don't have to do because a lot of this is voluntary. A lot of the engagements with authorities is voluntary. You have the right to stay silent. You have the right to not show your papers. These are the basic things that you have a right to. So familiarize yourself with that. Check out the resources. And we'll be adding more in the coming days. I'm heartbroken that we have to compile this under these circumstances, but considering the hard work that's been done by so many local organizations across the country, so many local communities, and so many local organizers are trying to make this visible. And I want to lend my hand to that effort in making it visible. I'm not the authority on this subject by any means. I don't provide immigrant legal advice. I don't practice law anymore. And I think it's important for us to recognize that the immigrant rights issue, it is actually helpful for everybody. As we're seeing in Minnesota, people of color are being disproportionately targeted regardless of their status. We all have the right to defend ourselves, and defend means being informed. That's the first step. So take a look at that website. I appreciate you listening, and I'll have more resources and links on the website. That's thediasporaacademy.com/KYR. I'll drop it in the show notes. And just remember, you have to stay calm and be prepared and protect each other. Hope you are all keeping safe and that you're all keeping well and that you're treating each other with kindness, that you're treating each other with respect, and that you're honoring that somehow, somewhere, someone made a really dangerous trip to this country so that you could be here. And you may have been told a certain story, but I guarantee that at some point in that journey, there was danger and there was risk so that you could be here. The best way to pay it forward is by helping others who are in very precarious, vulnerable situations, and by honoring that journey that so many have taken. All right. Stay safe, friends. Don't forget to subscribe and follow That Second Gen Life with Samhar on your favorite listening platform.